All right, so here's a tale of two different guns. Okay, for those of you who don't know, I live in the mountain Southwest, uh, and I try to spend as much time outdoors as I can. Of course, like everybody else, I got jobs and kids and all kinds of stuff going on. So the reality is, I don't get out there as much as I'd like to, but I try to get out whenever I possibly can. And so these are two different solutions to a similar problem. So we do have large and dangerous game in the Southwest United States in the form of black bears and mountain lions, or cougars or catamounts or pumas or whatever you want to call them. But and then we have other smaller, more dangerous things that you're more commonly run into, like rattlesnakes and some other things like that. But for the most part, though, we don't have any huge land animals like grizzly bears or polar bears or things like that, like they do in Alaska and Canada. So we don't really have to be concerned, as far as I'm concerned, with 44 Magnum type power or more. 460s or the 454 Casull or 500 Smith & Wessons. Those are all great guns and they're all fun guns. But I think they are probably overpowered for what you need to carry in the Arizona outback. So, on the table today, we have the Glock 29 right there, which has been my EDC pistol for the last several weeks. Recently got it. Been happy with it. It's a little chunky, fat gun. And for you guys who haven't picked one up or anything like that, the realistic size of one of these is going to be about the size of a Glock 19. But thicker slide, much thicker slide. I do run the XS Big Dots on this one, which I really do like. If you guys are getting older like I am, in your 40s, this is a good sighting system. It makes it easy to pick them up. So, Glock 29. So, reasons why I would carry this in the backwoods. First of all, with just the standard magazine, 10 plus 1 capabilities. So 11 is right in the gun right then and there. And then if you go to the Glock 20 magazines, that's 15 plus 1. And so, and they do fit and work and that kind of stuff. I just choose to go with the 10 round magazines because I do tend to carry this as a more of a concealed type gun, and the less that sticks out, the easier it is to conceal. Kydex holster actually was an Amazon find. I want to try it and see if I like carrying this gun before I went anything crazy expensive. And actually, I like this holster okay. It is a little sharp on the back of the Kydex, and so if you're a little fat like I am, it'll rub your fat roll a little bit, so you got to probably stand that down a little bit. So just be aware of that. And then, the ammo selection for the 10mm is really, really good. You can get everything from, 130, well, actually I've seen as low as 90 grain solid coppers for it. I haven't tried those yet. Haven't even found them for sale yet, but I do know they make them. I carry the 180 grain as far as my EDC stuff. The 180 grain jacketed hollow points. These are herders. And they you definitely know you're shooting it when you're shooting it. It's not that big of a gun, and this definitely has some oomph to it. I've also got some 135 grain Underwood ammo that I tried in it the other day, and I have a previous video about that. And I'm not 100% sure I totally trust the barrel in this to handle those overpressure rounds like that. Not because the barrel can't handle it, just because it's not fully supported, and I did see some case bulges. So something to be aware of. Now these are the double tap. I'll show you those here in a second. Hard cast lead. These are 200 grain hard cast, so they will penetrate very, very well with very little deformation. And out of a Glock 20, 200 grain bullet doing, again, I think it's kind of cool they do this on this box, but 1,300 feet per second out of a Glock 20. So they kind of expect someone to use this out of a Glock. Now, I'm not saying the barrel's really designed for it. I wouldn't shoot a steady diet out of it, but it can be done. Okay, and from what I understand, the Glock barrel does stabilize the 200 grain rounds very well. So, but 1,300 feet per second, 200 grains out of the Glock 20. I'm not going to get the same velocities out of the 29 as the Glock 20. It's a shorter barrel. But that being said, this would definitely take down any large animal in Arizona. So now it might require more than one shot, unless you happen to get that lucky brain pan shot. But you know, that is definitely worth it. And I think this gun has the ability to stop those kind of animals. The other gun this was my former, you know, back into the mountains gun, and I still will carry it from time to time, is my 357 Smith & Wesson. Hang on, I'm going to put this down so I can pull it out of the holster. Pick it up here again. And my 357 Smith & Wesson. Now this is a retired Border Patrol gun. So the quality on it was very good. I doubt it was probably ever shot a lot. That was back when the Border Patrol was a little bit more sane place than it is today. Long for the good old days, huh? One thing you'll notice, because it is an older gun, no Hillary hole, so that's really nice. Again, having that ability to not have to worry about that locking itself is very good. As you can see, this is coming out of a system, so it does have live rounds. You'll notice my finger is staying away from the trigger. It is pointing in a safe direction. So, but again, you know, 6 rounds of 357 Magnum is definitely potent and can do a lot of damage. Pros and cons. So, pros is that is going to be a more accurate weapon. Just is. Revolvers are inherently more accurate than autos. Not that I'm any more accurate, but revolvers are inherently more accurate. Less moving parts. They're more stable. They tend to have longer barrels. This one definitely has a longer barrel. And for my mountain ammo, I was running 147 grain solid copper hollow points, and these were at an advertised velocity of, I think, 1650 feet per second. Okay, so definitely able to penetrate, especially that solid copper, especially moving that fast. You know, any pretty much, you know, black bear, mountain lion, that kind of stuff. And this is a great gun, and you know, it works. I mean, it's reliable all day, every day. Upsides, downsides, you know, this one right here, between this right here, so that's 11 right there, another 10 right there, fits in my pocket or wherever you want to put it. So but so you're talking about 21 rounds of ammunition, of hard-hitting ammunition, versus 18, and that would take a total of 2 reloads, and they're slower reloads. So plus this is a much heavier gun, so something to think about. I mean, really up to, like, you know, kind of what you guys would want to carry. I still like to carry this, just kind of, it gives me the fizz to carry it every once in a while. And if I get out there and I go camping and I know I'm going to be around camp most of that camping trip, I'll put this on and run it. But I think if anything, or I'm going to be mobile, putting on miles and miles and miles, I'll probably be carrying something like this. Just lighter, easier, more compact, less stuff on my belt. You know, I could throw that in a pocket real easy, and just disappears. So, but they're both great guns. They're both effective guns. So, it's a pretty old gun, man, though. You know, cool things they did with the Border Patrol back then is they ported them. You know, had that kind of that red ramp sight. You can't really see it right there. Maybe I can get really close to it. Paint's wearing off. It's been, you know, running a holster for a million years, but you know, you can see the frame. I mean, very little wear on this gun. You know, a lot of the wear has been put on by me. So, because when I got it, it looked actually a little better than this, to be honest with you. It didn't have some of those scratches and that kind of stuff. But again, this is a retired Border Patrol gun. Again, probably from the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, I would guess. But it works and definitely has the capabilities. So, if You guys have any thoughts? Tell me what you think. Which one you'd rather carry. Probably going to carry this more. But I still want to carry that some. Because I like it. So, catch y'all later.